Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut and sew a deep neckline corset. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So first on my pattern, this is what I have, the front part of the corset, and I went ahead to cut it out. So to start, I'm going to go ahead to open my first pattern, and for this I cut it on fold and I cut out 2 pieces for this. So I'm just going to go ahead to place this, and you notice that I have this neckline at the center of my pattern, the V neckline. So next I'll open up the second pattern, and I added 1/2 inch all the way around it. So now I'm going to go ahead to pin it to the center pattern. So when you're pinning this, you want to also be careful so that you don't pin the wrong part to the other side. So for my mesh, I cut out 2 pieces for each side. So you can also use more than 2. You can cut like 3 pieces, and I'll be pinning it up so that I don't misplace each part for the other side. So next I'll go ahead and pin the other side just like I did for the other side of my pattern. So after pinning, I went ahead to cut out the little excess I have there. Then I'll be moving over to the other pattern. So for this pattern also, I added 1/2 inch round, but the pattern paper shifted, so that's why at the side you won't really know I added 1/2 inch. So just the same way I pin this to this side, you're also going to pin this side to the other side, and make sure you don't mistaken one side for the wrong side when you're pinning this. You want to be very careful and pay attention to whatever you're pinning. So I'm pinning this side, and I'm also going to make sure that what I have fits for the other side. So while pinning, you're going to be pinning this on the right side of your pattern. So after I'm done pinning, I'm going to be stitching this up with 1/2 inch. That is that 1/2 inch allowance that we added to this pattern. So after I'm done joining, this is what I have, and I'm just going to trim out that 1/2 inch a little at the upper part. Just trace it out a little, do not cut it entirely. If not, you'll be cutting out the stitch that you have at that point. She got my back, I'm happy that after I'm done trimming, this is what I have, and next we'll be bringing the other side, which is the back pattern too. So to join our pattern, I'm going to start with number 3, and number 3 is the side pattern for the back. So now I'll be separating this pattern from the paper, and I'm also going to notch just to help me know the place that will be facing the next part that I will be joining to my piece. So now I'm going to place, and I'm going to be stitching this with 1/2 inch also, and I'll pin it down just the same way I pin down my other pattern, and I'll also repeat this to the other side of the pattern also. Everything I do is for my woman. Anything I talk, where you talk, I go do. So next I'll be bringing in the second pattern, and I went ahead to add 1/2 inch again all around the pattern. So I'll go ahead and notch the part that is facing the last part of my dress, which is the lacing bar area, and I'm going to place and go ahead to pin this down. So after pinning the other side, I'll go ahead and repeat this to the other side also before bringing out the last pattern. She got my back, I'm happy that. So next I'll be working on the last piece, and I'll just go ahead to also pin it down just like I pinned the other pattern. After pinning it, I'll just go ahead and stitch it with 1/2 inch. So this is it after I'm done pinning. So I went ahead to cut out the 1/2 inch. I cut it out a little, and now we're going to be creating boning channels to cover all the sewing that we have on top. So I went ahead to place, stitch with 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to fold it again and I'm going to top stitch. So I'm just going back to my machine to stitch this down, and I will bring it to show you what I have. So after stitching down, this is what it looks like, and I'm going to repeat this to the other boning channel that I have also. So I'm just going to go ahead to place and I will stitch, then go ahead to fold it in and top stitch. So this is like the easiest method to create a boning channel, especially for a beginner. So I'll just go ahead and create boning channels on this piece, on those parts that I sewed, leaving out the last one because we'll be creating a lacing bar at that point. And I went ahead to also iron it out. So after that, I'll be marking out 2 inches, which I'll be using for my lacing bar area. So you can use 1.5 inches, but I just want to make use of 2 inches so that my boning channels will sit very well and the eyelet parts will not be too small for the size of eyelets that you want to use. And I'll just cut that out. So in my previous video, I created a lacing bar, one of my videos where I did a transparent corset. I created a lacing bar on top of the mesh itself, but in this one I'm cutting it out. So there are different ways to actually create your lacing bar or boning channels. So I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out, and I'll be replacing it entirely. So now to cut out, so what I cut out at that point is 2 inches. So 2 inches on fold, I have 4. So I'll be adding 1/2 inch on both sides, making it 5 inches. So this is what I have, 5 inches, and I'll be cutting out 2 at once because I have 2 lacing bar areas. And I'll just go ahead to measure the length of what I have. After measuring, I'll be adding extra 1 inch just in case I have any shortage. So I'll just cut this piece into 2. So this will be for the 2 lacing bar area. So I'll go ahead and I'll iron gum stay on it, and I'll bring it back to sew the lacing bar area. So now after I'm done ironing, this is what I have. So I'll go ahead to place and I'll be pinning this together. So I'll be pinning it from the place the fabric at the back, and I'll go ahead to pin it all the way to the end. So after I'm done pinning, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch this with 1/2 inch. So I'm done stitching with 1/2 inch at both sides. This is what I have. So now I'll be flipping this way, the 1/2 inch, and I'll place this down. I'll place it on it and I'll go ahead to pin. So I'll be top stitching on it. So before top stitching, I'm just going to go ahead to pin it down to make sure it is secured at that point. So after I'm done pinning it down, I'll be marking the space for my lacing bar. So after that, I'll go ahead and mark about 1/2 inch, and at the center I'll leave up to like 1 inch for the eyelets in case you're using a bigger size of eyelet, and I'll be leaving 1/2 inch on the other side. Repeat the same process on this side. So after I'm done sewing, this is what I have. So now I'm going to go ahead to start creating the boning channel at the center. I'll fold in my mesh a little with 1/2 inch place, and I'm going to be stitching on that part. So whatever I'm stitching, I'm going to make sure it comes down at least after the V neckline we have there. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have. I'll just go ahead to fold this up again. Just fold it in this way and I will top stitch down. So after I'm done sewing, I'm going to be passing boning to that side because we are going to create another boning channel that will sit on top of it. So to create the next boning channel, I'm going to place and make sure it covers this side, and make sure that you fold this in a bit, and I'll go ahead to sew and then turn it just like I did for the other side. So after I'm done sewing, I'm just going to fold in this way, and I'm going to also fold into the end, and I will top stitch. After I'm done sewing, this is what I have, and at the upper part I'm going to be wrapping this up. So I have 1.5 inches, and I will start from the back, so with half inch, and I'll just add like half or 1 inch immediately after my lacing bar. So I'll place my fabric, make sure it overlaps, and I'll place and stitch it down with half inch. So I will leave about half inch coming over to the front side of the pattern. So after you're done stitching, you're just going to flip it in this way, and you notice that half inch that you added will come in. With that way, you're not going to have any rough edge at the upper part. So I'll go ahead and repeat this at the other side and go ahead to stitch. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have, and next we'll be working for the cup pattern. For the cup pattern, this is what I have. I'll go ahead to unpin this. So I'm using the same Ankara fabric for the lining, and you want to go ahead to place this in order, and make sure that you note the part you're placing for each part. So I'll iron wording to this. For this pattern, I'll be using a wording. In one of my previous videos, I used a bra cup. So you're going to notch your cup. That is the part that will start where this V at the lower part of your corset, or the base of your corset, is going to start. So you're just going to notch that part. It is very important, and I'm going to open this up this way. So whatever I do for this part, I'm also going to repeat it for the lining piece. So after I'm done placing my pattern, and I forgot to mention the cup at the upper part, I had to place my upper pattern that I divided into two together, and I pinned it. So you'll be adding half inch all the way around to your pattern, and when you're placing this, try to be careful. If not, if you misplace each part for the wrong part, you might get another result altogether. So for the wording I added, I placed the shiny part on the wrong side of the fabric. So now you're going to place and stitch. That is after you're done ironing your wording to your main fabric. So if you stitch with half inch, you go ahead to join it this way. So you also repeat this on the lining and the other side of your cup. So I'm done stitching, and this is what I have. So I also ironed out my cup with my tailor's ham also. So I had to do this inside because I have no form of light out here. So now I'm going to be folding my cup over this way. I'll notch and also fold this here. This is to get the center point, and I'll go ahead to notch. So now I'm going to take my cup, that is the lining part, place the notched part on this joining at the center. So the next step is that notched part on your cup. That point where the V meets your cup, you're also going to place it there and pin. So you're going to pin the rest of your cup. So if your cup is slightly bigger than what you have, just notch it a little, and you're going to pin your cup. So I'm going to go ahead to pin my cup, and at the upper part I'll be leaving about half inch on top. This will serve as your joining allowance to the main piece of your cup, and I'll just go ahead to pin to the other side. So after pinning, I'll be repeating this for the other side of my cup. So after I'm done pinning here, I'm just going to be stitching this with half inch. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have, and we are going to be joining our cup. So I'm going to go ahead and place. Make sure the right side of your cup is facing the right side of the lining, and you're going to go ahead to pin this down. So I'm going to continue pinning till I get to that point where the boning channel I created for the V effect will stop, and I will go down by half inch a bit after that V neckline I have on that point. So I'll just fold it to make sure that I am in order before I'll go ahead and stitch this down. So I'll go ahead and repeat this at the other side of the cup also. So after I'm done sewing, I'm just going to go ahead to notch this to enable your cup sit very well. After that, I'm just going to go ahead to start folding in the half inch that is remaining, and I'll be pinning this. Fold this and you're going to pin, and I'll do this to the lower part and the sides of the corset cup that is remaining. So after I'm done doing this is what I have, and I'm just going to stitch on it and repeat this at the other side of the corset. So I'm done pinning the other side of the corset, and I'll just go ahead and stitch both of them at the same time. So I'm done stitching. This is what I have, and I've gone ahead already to add my boning to my boning channel. So I'll make sure that I have a boning channel at the center and it gets to the upper part of the other side of the V, and I'll go ahead to pass boning channel to my boning channel and lacing bar. After that, I'll just go ahead to wrap up the lower part of my corset just like I did at the upper part. So this is it after I'm done sewing. Please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks.